Hey guys, we're live. I'm just going to give everyone a few minutes to jump on. Already got a thumbs up. I haven't said anything. That's amazing. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Throw a little comment in the chat so I know who's here, please. Got a couple things I want to cover tonight. Progress updates, the new macros, what eating at a restaurant cost me, thinking I was eating clean, how I'm working with 2 journals now, food scale, etc., etc. So who's on so far? Give me a little heads up in the chat, please. Maybe you have. I haven't hit it right yet. Chat, live chat. Say hello there. Let's go. Hold. That's not now. Jan, nice purple shirt. Hey, you like that, Jan? There you go, kiddo. I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd like it. Awesome. Awesome. YouTube. How you doing this week, Jan? How was your week, girl? I'm a little behind. I had some people down 3 pounds. Love it, sister. Love it. Family day long weekend, so I've got some family down. So we're just upstairs playing games and just rushed down. So I'm a little bit behind. I apologize, but I did not want to miss this. I want to stay consistent because consistency is the first priority in the top 7 things for success. What are we talking about here? 2 journals. Jan, what was your home run for this week? What was the big thing that you did? The thing you're most proud of for this week? Work got 5. I know. I saw you post. You were a mad woman hitting those high intensity. You're at that new gym that's in Smith Falls, eh? Hitting those high intensity. So 5 workouts, beautiful. Down 3 pounds. So you're on top of your food as well, right? How's that going? What's the biggest thing you've turned a corner on when it comes to food? Is it what you're eating? Is it the amounts? Is it your food prep? What's that one thing that you've nailed down that's making the big difference for you? Because 3 pounds in a week for you is very good. And what I mean by you is that, you're not 300 pounds. You don't have a lot of weight to lose in comparison. So 3 pounds is a big number. Very proud of you for that. What's that thing? What's the thing that you've really started to master in your food? Food prep big time? Okay. Awesome. So always always ready, always on top of things. Are you fasting at all? When do you have your first meal in the day? We have a second person on. Oh, they're gone. If you're on, guys, say a little hello. Check us out, see what we're doing. Ask questions. Let me know how you're doing. Super important. I'm just checking the social media, see if there's any questions. I'm going to throw this up on my bigger screen so I can focus on this. So let me move this over. Big screen. Over here. Excellent. Beauty. Awesome. So, Jan, are you doing your food prep twice a week, once a week? What's working the best for you? I'm going to go over what I'm going to cover tonight. Tonight, I'm going to cover the first week with my new macros. Jan, 7:30, sometimes 10:30. If doing fasted cardio 2 times a week for food prep, very nice. Thank you. I'm picking on you because you're the one that's on right now, but you're also doing really well, Jan. I really like what's going on. Would you say your best progress has happened over the last 90 days, or what do you think? Struggled in January, but back on track. Very nice. Very nice. Consistency, right? Very, very important overall. Coming off the holidays is always tricky. It's always tricky because you get out of the groove really quick, especially if you're, kind of struggling going into it, or you're adapting some newness and stuff. So it's very fragile, right, when we first start. So we can get knocked off guard pretty easy. Second person I see is on there. Go ahead and say hello in the chat just so we can see who's there. Say hi to you. See how you guys are doing. That's what I want to do as well, is also help you guys stay consistent and have some accountability and celebrate in the victories as well. Struggling, yeah. So I mean, it's really important. It's really good. It's really good to get recognition when we're doing good things as well, right, guys? Super, super important. So yeah, I got to start a little bit late today. Got some family, so I want to make sure I get some time to spend with them. Family day tomorrow. I am in the gym though, working from 1 to 9, so I'm going to get some of that stuff down. Very important. Food prep. So for me, food prep is doing really, really well. And if you guys have seen my grocery list, it's very, very simple. I'm gonna have to learn more about how to throw a picture up here. But what I did last week, if you guys were watching me on Facebook, is I actually posted a picture of my groceries for the week, and that's what I'm loving about this. And I said that earlier in my notes. I feel like I've conquered my food. So for me, a week's supply of groceries is 7 containers, 1 liter containers of egg whites, 12 cans of tuna, 1 2-kilo tray of chicken thighs, and I had a bag of rice in there. But that bag of rice is going to last me like 3 or 4 weeks. And boom, 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 and a little bit of greens. So and that a whole grocery list, $75 for the week. I mean, even just eating out twice a week, I blow that budget out of the water. So I talked about last week having just started my new macros and how I was running a deficit of 2,000 calories, and so I was dealing with 1,906, 1,907 calories, and in those 1,900 calories, 400 grams of protein, 75 grams of carbs, and only 15 grams of fat. So what that's forced me to do is have a very detailed food plan. And again, I like that simplicity. So meal 1 is 500 milliliters of egg whites, like I talked about, a third of a cup of rice, some greens, and 2 scoops of whey protein. Meal 2 is chicken, 6 ounces of chicken, third of a cup of rice, some greens, 2 scoops of whey protein. Meal 3, my driest meal, my dirtiest meal, 6 ounces of, so that's about a can and a half of drained tuna, third of a cup of rice, some greens, and 2 scoops of whey protein. And then my last meal is 500 milliliters of egg whites and 2 scoops of whey protein. And that's at night. And that meal, I'm hitting probably 2 out of 3 nights. Sometimes I just get home and I'm full, so I'm not hungry. So again, I don't want to shortchange myself on the protein side. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have 3 scoops of whey protein to get the 75 grams of protein overall. So in the 7 days with the new macros, I dropped 9.2 pounds, which is much more than the 5 and a quarter that we're looking to do. But just changing things up, tightening things up, definitely made a bigger difference overall. Energy level is pretty good. The one thing I noticed is I'm fasting till 1 because I sleep till about 8 in the morning. Then I get up and I have stuff to do. So I get to the gym for 1 and I do my weigh-in, and I'm weighing in every day. So I'm fasting till 1. But once I have that first meal, I really have to keep it no longer than 4 hours apart because of the lower carbs. If I go longer than 4, I get a little loopy. I get a little weird. I don't feel so good. So then I start thinking about food, and luckily I do have that meal with me, so that's the plan I'm going to have. Last week after legs, Tuesday into Wednesday, I was actually hungry in between my first 2 meals, and I think that's because of just a big leg workout overall. So that made a difference. But yeah, I feel full. I feel stuffed, especially on that first meal when I have the egg whites with the greens and the third of a cup of rice. I have to say I went from brown rice to brown basmati rice, and much tastier. So I'm enjoying it. The third of a cup is even more delicious. Third of a cup isn't very much, guys. But I'm liking the fact that I know exactly what my meals are. And again, food prep is so much easier. So at noon when I get ready to leave the house, I do a fresh egg white, and while that's cooking, I set up 3 other trays so I take 3 meals with me, and scoop out the carbs, the rice into it, measure out my chicken into meal 2, measure out my tuna. I have a weight scale. Again, the weight scale, seeing 6 ounces, visualizing 6 ounces, and weighing it. Yeah, it's actually, I would have shortchanged myself on what I thought 6 ounces was. So I was surprised at how much chicken 6 ounces actually is cooked. I would have eaten less of that if I was just going eyeballing it. So the scale's great. I got that off Amazon as well. I'll put it in the link today. And I just throw whatever container I have, I throw that on, zero out the weight scale, and then I just measure out the meat, so the chicken, and then the tuna, and then I just throw in my third of a cup of rice, and then a little bit of greens, throw the lid on, and away I go. And so literally, I've got all those first 3 meals ready to go and prepped before my egg whites even ready to start scrambling while they're cooking on a medium heat. So, finish that off, drop that in. That's the third lid. Throw it in a bag, and away I go. I really, really like the simplicity of it, and I find because I'm not hungry, people are like, "Oh, aren't you bored? Aren't you bored?" Not really, guys. Not so far. I just eating. I'm trying to really make food a function. So if I don't go much longer than 4 hours and I don't get weird, then I don't struggle too much and think about the food. So I'm like, I'm eating. It's time to eat. Eat this up, and away I go. And then boom. So I'm really, really liking that. This was my first full weekend through it. First weekend I did it. I was excited about it. So it's easier to be disciplined. This is my first full weekend through it, and went really well. It went really, really well. Uh, I like it. I really do. I find having the structure. I go to the gym Saturday for one, check on things, see what's going on, weigh in. I want to get that daily weigh in, and then have that first meal. So on Saturday, I only brought 2 with me, and then I stayed for about an hour, did some work, and then I went home. So I just brought the meal back with me, and that went super well. Really portable, really, really easy. So adding that weight scale was definitely a plus. So it's systemized now. I've got the protein powder on the counter. I've got the shaker cups ready to go. The family's really cool. This way, in a way that I keep a couple dishes out, rinse them out, put them out, so it's ready to go. So there's nothing stopping me. Even tonight, we were cooking dinner. We had a bunch of people over, and while we were doing that, I was quickly able to assemble 2 meals. And I had dinner with the family. It was good. I instead of chicken, Dolly had made some fresh trout. So I measured 6 ounces for that, and it was very, very good, delicious, in fact. And with the rice, and I had some broccoli with it, and it was good. It was kind of funny though. Everyone's eating on plates, and I'm still eating in my little, plastic dishes. Like I can't be trusted with silverware or whatever. That was pretty funny, but good. I'm able to have a meal. So that part's going really well. I'm interested to see the 9.2 pounds this week. I'm interested to see what week 2 is going to deliver. There's a point where it does have to slow down, where I do want it to slow down. So at 5 pounds a week, we're going to be looking at 3/4 of a pound a day when I weigh in. I also got to make sure my mind's okay with that, because I've been seeing the pounds plus, right? What I also want to talk about today, though, is eating at a restaurant and what that cost me for a weigh-in. So Valentine's Day, I want to go out to dinner with my wife. We went to Montana's, and I like Montana's because if you can't, they don't have something on the menu that is clean, you can definitely build something. So I was thinking I'd go in there and have a garden salad with a chicken breast. But when I got there, they had a really cool dish where it was two chicken breasts. Now, restaurant chicken breasts are pretty small, so 2 is definitely the way to go. But it was on a bed of rice. It had freshly chopped vegetables, and it came with sautéed onions and mushrooms, and it had a cream sauce. So I asked for not having the cream sauce on it. And when I got it visually, it fit, like I could tell it was right around the size of the macros, maybe a little more protein than I would have normally eaten. The rice was right there around a third of a cup, maybe a quarter of a cup, not much more. And the veggies were like on track. It was good. So well cooked, tasted really good. When I ate it, I felt as full as I normally feel. So I'm thinking, good volume, good macros were on top of it, and drank some soda water and watched my wife have a nice steak. I have to admit I was longing for the red meat. I'm not going to have any red meat for another 30 plus weeks. So I'm a big steak eater. I love the red meat, so I'm going to miss that. But I was glad she enjoyed it, and I could smell the aroma. It was very nice. And I'll say a couple hours later, we were home, and I got a little gassy. And, and that's one thing I noticed with the clean eating that I started back in December. I wasn't dealing with a lot of gas. I wasn't farting a lot. Bowel movements were good. But 2 hours or so in after this, I had some gas. I had to fart a lot and smelly fart. So I knew something wasn't burning well. It was something I wasn't used to processing. And all I could think of was the sautéed onions. I hadn't had onions, and onions sometimes do give me gas, but because I've been running so clean on my food, I think those onions really hit me the wrong way. They really just made me uncomfortable and stinky and lots of gas. It was very, very non-romantic, that kind of thing. But did my best. So get to the weigh-in the next morning, Saturday afternoon. I go in for my weigh-in, and I feel good. I hop on the scale, and I gained 1.2 pounds. I was 353.8 Friday, and Saturday I was 355. So bugged me. I didn't like seeing the number go up, obviously, but totally get it. So even though I ate a clean restaurant meal and it was in the macros, we have to understand that how restaurants prepare food is different than how we prepare food. They want to make things extremely tasty. So they're going to throw a lot of sodium-rich flavoring in there. They're going to throw a lot of water retention type ingredients in there to make it very flavorful, but you're going to retain a lot of water. So what I was dealing with there was a lot of water retention. I felt that, like I said, in my mind, I was pissed. I just had, 6 days of great weight drops, and there I gained a pound. And that 355 was like, wow, I didn't like seeing that. But I understood it. I understood the science behind it, but the emotion behind it, the hard work, the consistency, like shit, right? Talked to my bodybuilding coach, and he started laughing. He says, Curd, that's a life issue. Don't worry, it'll straighten out. I'm like, well, I'll cut a meal out today. He's like, don't cut a meal out today. Just go back to normal, drink more water, and flush it out. So I did that, and then going on the scale. And then last night, the family was here, and they were going out for drinks, possibly karaoke. They were going out to dinner again. I bowed out because I didn't want to do this 2 days in a row. I didn't like what happened. So the advantage of weighing in every day is I got to see it quickly. And I also said, hey, listen, I had my night out. I had my big social activity for the week. I'm okay with this. You guys go ahead, and I'll meet up with you guys later. And I ended up going to a buddy's house I hadn't seen in 20 years and actually played euchre and had a great time. Brought my meal, no problem. Get up this morning, get my thing done, head into the gym for 12, hop on the scale. I could feel different. I could feel the bloat was gone. There was definitely some water retention. And I jumped on the scale. I was 350. Let me just double check here. I was 353.4. So I had lost the weight I had gained plus another 400 grams. So lightest I've been in the 7 days I've been on there. So overall, a drop of 9.2 pounds would have been 10, 11, right? Because to gain that pound instead of losing that pound, that's a 2-pound swing. So that would have been probably closer to 10, 11 pounds. But I definitely cleaned it up the next day, meaning today, and got back on track. So a couple things to recap on that. Very easy to have things go the opposite way. Even what we think is a very clean meal will have issues because it's commercially prepared with the higher levels of sodium and nitrates that are in the flavorings for food to make it taste so good. We're going to run into water retention, and the bigger you are, the more water you're going to retain. Those are factors. Really glad I weigh every day so I could catch that, so that I didn't go to a restaurant a second day, because the second day would have made another 2-pound gain. So then I would have only lost 7 pounds or 8 pounds, right? So it makes a difference. And this is where the sacrifice comes in of the goal, of the objective. To drop the weight I want to drop, to be able to go to November 2nd and be 10% and get on stage. I'm not going to the restaurant every week, right? And I'm definitely not going 2 days in a row. And if I go 2 days in a row, I really have to eat first, second time go there, have some soda water, and, do without a little bit. But in the big picture of things, it's the right thing to do, right? Because the sacrifice has to happen now because the goal is so big. And I'm okay with it. I really am. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that I get this result. But really cool to see the damage even a clean meal in a restaurant can do, right? It just shows you, right, what we're up against. So unless you really are in control of your food and you know what you're taking in and you're the one preparing it and you're the one making sure that you're doing as much as you can from scratch, right, you're leaving doors open for calories to sneak in, for water retention to sneak in. We have to be vigilant. We really have to own that. We really have to be on top of it. We have to make sure that we're taking full responsible for everything that we take into our bodies when we're trying to make these goals overall. Jan losing 3 pounds, that didn't happen by accident. She was on top of her stuff. She was on top of her food prep. She was on top of her macros. She was on top of her portion size. She was consistent. Be happy you're not a lady. Water retention is not fun at all, especially when you guys deal with that weekly issue and stuff like that. How your bodies are different than guys for sure makes a big difference. So again, even more for you guys to stay on top of, right? We just have to be to make these changes. We have to make big changes. Later on, once you've dropped your 10, your 20, your 40, your 50 pounds, you've made those big transformations, you'll have bigger windows. You'll get away with a little bit more. You'll have retuned your body. Your metabolic rate will be higher. You lose 50 pounds, your body will get used to, if you stay there long enough, it'll get used to staying at that weight. So it's not going to want to fluctuate up and down a lot, right? So that makes a big difference. But you've got to get there, and you've got to hold that line and reset that baseline for your body. That's really it. If you spent so many years being overweight, you've set that baseline. Your body is just used to being there. I don't like using the word comfortable because we're not comfortable when we're really overweight, but we're used to it. Our bodies are used to it. They've come to accept it. These are the parameters that we live in. Your body creates a stasis and wants to stay there. So to make these changes, that's why making these changes is big, because you have to really move mountains to make the changes and have the body decide to find, okay, it's time to let this go. We're going to lose the weight. We don't need to hold on to it. We are eating cleaner. It'll make those shifts. It'll make those changes. So again, at the end of the day, it took time to get overweight. It's going to take time to lose the weight and get to where you want. And when you first get there, again, it's tentative, it's fragile, and could easily go back. The rebound is very, very real. You have to fight that. You have to stay there and reset. That could take sometimes 6 months to a year once you get to your weight, right? But if we make those big changes in weight, well, that came about by making big changes in our environment. It came about from making big changes in what we do. Our habits have changed dramatically. Our mindset will have changed dramatically. To me, that's what's really important. Once we get there and we've made those mindset changes, that's what we got to hold on to with all our might, because the moment we start to slip back to the old way of thinking, slip back to the old ways, it'll come rushing back. It's just waiting. It's just waiting to go back there overall. We need to make it so that not eating clean is weird. Not eating food that you know exactly where it came from and how it was prepared and how much it weighs. We need to make that the weird. Like, what do you mean you don't know how much that weighs? Like, how can you do that? We need to get there, so that's our mindset. That's how we truly believe, and that's where we function. When you have muscle soreness, does that mean you retain water? No. Muscle soreness, as a rule, will be from breaking down muscle tissue with your physical activity in the last 24 to 48, 72 hours, and then how fast you recover. If it's something new you haven't done or a different level of training or intensity, you're going to have muscle soreness from that newness. That's just a sign that you pushed it. Ideally, your muscle soreness should be at a point where, like, oh yeah, great chest workout 2 days ago. I feel it. It's good. Reach for the seatbelt. It's a little stiff, right? If it's like, oh my God, I can barely move, then either you did way too much or you're really under recuperating. And that becomes more of, what are you taking in nutritionally? What are you eating? What's your consistency and stuff like that, right? So, when I first started training legs, oh my God, my legs were just beat up, but we didn't go crazy, so I wasn't crippled. 2 weeks ago, I added squats. When I added squats to the workout, that changed things. There was a different stress, a different modality. There was some muscle soreness above and beyond in different areas because I added a different variation of training, which, hit things. Hey, buddy, what's up, man? That's Still Strong. That's my buddy Steph, my training partner, who we just rocked a kick-ass workout today. And we had a really funny incident with this straight bar skull crushers. We're not going to talk about that today. That was hilarious. We both pooped the bed on that one. That was good. Great workout. Great vibe in the gym today, man. It was awesome. We posted the new 4 horsemen, as we like to call it, the 4 of us working out and stuff. And you know what's cool? The 4 of us are working out hard. The 4 of us are watching what we eat. Everyone's getting a little bit leaner. It's really, really sharp. It's a good vibe in the gym overall. I see a third person's following us, is watching. Say hi in the chat if you haven't said hi. Introduce yourself real quick. I always like to know who's hanging out. But yeah, so again, muscle soreness, again, a receipt for a great workout for sure. But if it's lingering, prolonged, or really devastating, then you either went way too far or you're really under recuperating, or your fitness or conditioning level is really low, which I don't think is the case for you, John, because you've been working out for a while. And watching you, I know you stepped up your game with the high intensity training. And maybe that's what, if you're feeling that, I think you hit a couple more HIT workouts this week. Maybe you're just feeling that extra volume. So that's all right. If there's the kind of thing that you feel is impairing you, like you're going to have trouble going down the stairs, or you really have to warm up, look at it. Is it because you just really had like a 500 rep leg workout and you got the shit kicked out of you? New exercises for sure. On a scale of 1 to 10, John, is it, 10 being crippled, I can't even move, 9 being it hurts when I breathe, 8 is like, oh my God, I haven't felt like this in a while. If you're 7 to 8, that's pretty cool for a new exercise. And usually it's 48 hours later that it tends to be the worst. The key to limit that and to bring that to a much lower level is stay moving on your days off in between, and make sure in your macros you're getting a good amount of protein and lots of water to recover. That's why for me, what's really important, part of it, bringing the metabolic rate up, part of it being older, but part of it is I want to make sure I encourage a lot of blood flow, right? So if we get lots of blood flowing after the workouts, we get a lot of nutrients and oxygen into the damaged areas, and then we get a lot of waste material being, exported out with the blood flow. That 25 minutes of steady state cardio that I like to do. For me, it's on a bike. I did a little bit of treadmill this week, a couple times, got on for 10 minutes. So I did about 15 minutes on the bike, and then I jumped on the treadmill, and then again, 2-degree incline, a walk. I'm trying to keep that as an intensity out of 10, like 5. So I could do it for an hour. It would just bore the crap out of me. And that's just because I want to keep that blood flowing. I want to keep that recovery. I want to get some oxygen in there. I want to keep the metabolic rate. But what I really like about it is it keeps my mind in the game about working out every day. To me, that's the really, really big thing. When I look at my to-do list in the morning, when I set up my journal in the morning, one of the things that has to happen before I go to bed is I have to get my exercise in. And on the days where Tuesdays and Thursday nights I train with the boys, and Sundays I train with the boys, the other days of the week, I really try to get my cardio in around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because by then I've gotten to the gym for one, I've settled in, I've worked on some things, got things organized, dealt with whatever has to be dealt with immediately. Then I'll go over and hop on the bike for the 25 minutes, watch something on YouTube, have my phone with me and stuff, and just really just get it done, right? When I first started this back in December 15th, we're talking 2 months now, it was level 1 on the bike. Now I'm using level 7, 8. So the strength is coming, the endurance is coming. I'm not trying to kill it. I'm not trying to set PRs on every workout. That's not what it's all about. It's about getting workouts in every day, and just making sure I feel really good, making sure that my body is recovering and I feel good and I move better. So to me, that's the most important part overall. So yeah, if it's from new exercises, Janet, and it's around 7, 8 out of 10, good on you. That means you pushed it, you woke some stuff up from a different angle. That's good. Just make sure you're hydrating a lot in between and your protein levels are good. Next time you go to do that same type of level workout, it won't be as bad because your body already starts to adapt, for sure. So great question. And you know what? Great problem to have. It's nice to be there, right? That kind of thing. If you do nothing, you'll be sore and tired from doing nothing eventually as well, too. Getting off the couch and all of a sudden you're stiff and sore, that's a pain too, and that's a soreness. But that's something that no one wants. That's not a receipt for a job well done. That's just you lowering the bar and the standard on your body all the time, and then it gets hard to do just the basics. So we want to raise it. So there's one thing I will say is, 8 weeks into it now, my energy level throughout the day is much better. My hey, I want to get down and pick something up and do it, and I want to move this, and my clarity much better. I'm starting to really reap those benefits and those rewards. Every Sunday I do the cable crossover. Most muscular is my progress shot, and I have to say, very happy with mine today. Seeing the difference already, seeing the delta, and things are starting to change. It's getting quite noticeable. Shirts are hanging different. People are seeing. I haven't seen me at a week at a time, or telling me they're seeing changes and stuff like that. So very, very cool. I'm really, really pumped about the groove I'm in. Again, guys, if you're just joining us, say hi in the chat so we can just say hi to you back, and let's see what's going on. If you like anything I'm saying, guys, give me a thumbs up. Give me a like on the old YouTube there. That helps with the old logarithms and stuff. If you want to follow me, go ahead and hit subscribe. And every Sunday we're doing the live stream, and I'm just talking about the progress, the things I'm running into, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thanks for the like, whoever that was. Again, I want you guys to follow my journey. It does 2 things, right? It's keeping me accountable. It's another accountability tool that I have. But I also want to bring some of you guys along with me. If I can do it, you can do it, then let's get it done, right? And I'm getting a lot of people in the last week, 2 weeks especially, just messaging me and asking me questions and want me to help them and thanking me for, they're inspired and they want to do more and stuff. And I'm like, that's my mission. That's what I'm passionate about. That's my wheelhouse. And I want to do that. I want to help you guys and girls over 40 and 50, just do it. Get it done, right? Have more energy, feel better, have more sex. Just do the things that we really want to do that make us happy and be happy from within and without. And there's no better feeling than putting on a pair of pants you haven't worn in a long time, or putting a new shirt on and it hangs better and stuff like that. Nothing tastes as good as feeling leaner feels. Like that, as simple as that. It really comes down to that. And it's exciting. I'm really, really pumped overall. I think it's cool. Something else I wanted to talk about tonight is something that I've been doing, and I started doing it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the last week I've been doing it in earnest, is I journal. I have a journal that I carry, my notes and what I think and my mindset. I have a journal that I use here for when I do my live streams and my seminars, just about what I'm talking about, where I'm at and what weeks. But I've taken my workout journal to the next level. And what I'm doing with that, if you just joined us, thanks for joining us. What I'm doing with that is I am tracking my meals, meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. I number them because they're the same meals, so I know what they mean. I'm writing down my weigh-in daily on the top right hand so I can see where I'm at and remind myself where I'm at. And then I'm also writing down my workouts. So on the workout days, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, there's more writing, there's more sets, there's more reps. But I'm putting notes down, the intensity, how I feel, how this exercise feels. I'm dealing with that shoulder, getting much better, but still dirty, but getting much better. So I'm making notes on that. On the days where I'm doing my cardio, I just write down the cardio, right? I'm just doing it. And what's happening with that is it's another tool for accountability, but it's really looking back and just seeing the success happen, right? So I can look back on the last page and, there's my weigh-ins, there's my meals, there's my workout. I look back on the page before, and I turn and I can take a look. And what's happening is I'm seeing layer after layer of successful days, right? And what that's doing is that it's building momentum forward mentally, right? To the point where I want to get to that journal. I want to write those notes down. If I missed a day the other day and it pissed me off that I missed a day, I just got busy and I forgot to write stuff down. So, so I'm kind of dealing now with a 2-journal system. The first journal is my morning journal, mindset, what I want to do for the day, what's important, any meetings, that journal is important. But this secondary journal, I'm looking at as my, I'm calling it my fitness journal. So what it is my workouts, my food, my weigh-ins, right? It's really I'm tracking the activity that I'm doing in those 3 areas, right? And those are the 3 most important areas: the food, the activity, and obviously the weigh-in. I really wasn't quite sure at the end of the day how weighing in every day would be good for me mentally, but I have to say it's that one thing that really also helps me stay focused. I look forward to it. Of course, I want it to be a good weigh-in. They have been all the way up to now, except for that restaurant incident. And again, it was good to see what's there. I do that then at the end of the week and the month. I summarize what I met. Oh, I love it, Janet. I love it. Review. Fantastic, right? And when the best time I like to review is when I'm having a shitty day. When I'm having a day where it doesn't matter what your mindset is and what you're working on, right? We're human. We're going to have days that sometimes we feel like we're just not making any progress, right? You ever have one of those days? Perfect day to go back and look at those journals and see what you've been getting done. Because we get used to it, right? Okay, I'm in a groove. I'm eating really well. I'm in a groove. I'm working out all the time. I'm in a groove, right? We start to take it for granted, right? Look back. Look at those victories. Take them in. Appreciate them, right? So on those days where we're less than optimal, or we feel that we're less than optimal, look at the last 6 weeks and then compare to the last 6 months and look at the progress you've made, right? Super, super important. I have 4 or 5 Instagram channels. I use a couple for the business. The one where I'm tracking the most for myself is the Silverback Blueprint. And there I'm posting pictures, videos of the workout, but that's where I'm posting sort of like a pictorial journey of what I'm up to. I've got a couple of favorite poses I like to do so I can see. So one is always the most muscular in the cable crossover. The other arm is the tricep extension. That's where I get to visualize and see my progress, right? Guys, if you're just joining us, we're just talking about the 50-year-old bodybuilder rookie on the journey. We're talking this week about my first week with the new macros, lost 9.2 pounds. We're talking about, getting a weight scale and just how weighing my meats actually made a difference in the way that I realized I wasn't eating enough of my protein. So I was brought that up to a higher level, and just how simple I made it. What I'll do is I'll shoot a video this week of just me doing my food prep. So I'll just have the camera with me, and I'll just show you how I just basically assemble my three first meals of the day, 3 out of 4, and how I have everything in certain places so it's super convenient. And it makes a big difference, right? It's not stressful. I know when I walk in, boom. And I know when I see a level of rice is low, boom, the pot's on, I'm boiling another pot of rice. It's cool. It really, really is sharp. It's like a little mini assembly line. And again, it just takes the excuses of no time. It takes the potential for chaos in the day out of it as well. So it's really sharp over that kind of thing. The other thing I talked about is how I did have the one restaurant meal, and even though I made sure it was really clean, it actually caused me to gain weight this week. And again, water retention, the food, the nitrates, the sodiums and stuff that they use in cooking commercially, the water retention that causes, because the size of the meal I ate was bang on. That what I ate as far as macros, it was rice, it was chicken breast, it was some veggies. That was all good. So the only thing I can, say is just it's how the food is prepared. And again, why it's important that we prepare our own food. We have our food as close to from scratch as possible, so we know everything that's going in there, right? That's really, really what it comes down to, is the ownership of what's happening. Guys, I see there's 4 or 5 people following us. That's fantastic. If you haven't yet, say hello in the live chat so I get to see who you are, acknowledge you, appreciate you. If anything I'm saying isn't pissing you off, how about a thumbs up? That would be great. I really appreciate that. And if you're new, hit subscribe and hit the bell so that whenever I do shoot a video, you're notified of it. This is a live stream I like to do every Sunday. It's just the journey of the 50-year-old bodybuilding rookie, and I just want to take you along for it. Thanks, Steph. I just want to take you along with it. I just want to help it. It helps my accountability. If I can help inspire, motivate, answer questions for you guys and girls listening, great resource for all of us. And thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for taking time out of what you're doing to spend some time with me. I really, really do appreciate it and value it. I've had a few people reach out from these, ask me some questions. More than happy to do what I can to help you guys and girls out on this overall, right? It's my purpose. I want to help. I want to be of benefit to others. I want to matter, and I want to do, acts that help people, become better overall. That's my mission. So, and then we were talking just now recently about how I'm using a second journal. My first journal is my morning journal, my mindset journal, what I need to get done for the day, the priorities, any notes from meetings or ideas or things I'm working on go in that journal. And then my secondary journal, taking my strength training or my training log, and not just writing what my workouts are, but also tracking my meals, what they are, the weigh-in, the daily weigh-in every day, and just putting all that there so that I can see the work that I'm achieving, so that I can appreciate it, I can take it in, and I can see that, this isn't happening by accident. These are purposeful things that are getting done. But what's really cool is it's taking less and less time, meaning as I get more comfortable with it. Sunday's our longest workout because it is Sunday, and, there's 4 of us, and we're working hard, but I think we all started laughing today because we were having trouble with one exercise, and we were all having trouble with it. And it was crazy because the week before we were doing really well with it. So it was funny. We just had a good laugh. So it's good to enjoy that. But at the same token, on the sets, we were grinding the sets. There was some huffing and puffing. We were sweating for sure. So it's good. It's good to have that, and it's good to track that as well. Tuesdays and Thursdays, because it's later, we have a little less time, so it's a little more blood and guts for sure. But we're working hard. We've got a good group. I think we posted it up today, the 4 of us. If you check out my Facebook under Curd Hos, you'll see it. There's myself, my training partner, Steph, Eric, and Cameron. We're guys. We're getting a little bit older. I'm the oldest, and there's a couple of Stephs behind me, and then there's a mid-40 and then in the late 30s. And we're all working out hard. We're all giving it, and it's cool. There's a couple of young guys in the gym. They're watching us today, and those guys work out hard, but they saw some of the old Silverbacks, bringing it and stuff like that. So it's good. And then we feed off that, right? Good energy, good intensity, and fun at the same time. But again, the average workout is maybe 40 minutes long, 45. Once we settled in and get shit going and stuff. My cardio is 25 minutes on the other days and stuff. It's not 4 or 5 hours in the gym, guys. It really isn't. And what's allowing that is that getting better control of the food is what makes the difference. I have a 6-week transformation group that we've got a couple weeks left, and I was just talking to them tonight and just really going over the fact that, sometimes they get upset if they only get 3 workouts in a week at Hostile instead of 4 or 5 or 6. And I get it. I understand it's important for their fitness, but also for their socialness and being part of it. But what I'm really driving home to them is that it's actually staying on top of your food, your macros, and your calories. That's what's going to cause the real weight loss over the weeks overall. You can't outtrain a bad diet. There's no way. There's no way you can do it. It doesn't matter. You can be super fit and fat. I mean, I was, at 396 pounds in December, I was pretty fit, especially for almost 400 pounds, right? Because I train. But I was eating to be 400 pounds. It's that simple. Now I'm down 50 pounds pretty much. My energy level is even better because I'm taking that fitness and I'm moving less of me. There's 50 pounds less. Guys, a great example. If any of you listening have lost at least 10 or 20 pounds recently, do this. Put a 10 or 20 pound vest on. If you don't have a vest, take a pack sack, throw a 10 or 15 pound dumbbell in the back. Wear that shit for the day. See how long you can last with it. Throw it on during your workout. It's going to kick your ass. And what that's really showing you is that when you were holding that 15 or 20 or 25 pounds, 50 pounds on your body every moment of every day, that's how much more stress your body had to go through. That's how much fucking tougher you made your life by holding on to it. And again, it's another great example to look back at how far you've come, right? So Janet was saying she was down 3 pounds. I told Janet, just show you how impressive that is from last week. Take a 3-pound dumbbell and keep it in your hand all day long. Right? It's going to be a pain in the ass. Well, that's what you just did. You just got rid of 3 pounds. You just took 3 pounds out of your frame, off your frame, but now you have the same amount of strength, but less weight to move. So you're going to move better. You're going to have more energy, right? You're going to flow better. It's easier for me to tie my shoes. It's easier for me to buckle up in any car now. And that's down to 350. So what's really exciting for me is that next week, I'm going to be in the 340s. And I haven't been in the 340s for a while. I'm going to say 2 years. 2 years, like a good 340. So I'm looking forward to that. At 340, it's almost 60 pounds down. There's a big difference in what that feels like on my nervous system, on my breathing, respiratory system, my energy levels, right? So at the end of the day, if you've lost 10 or 20 pounds, because I'm sure most people I'm talking to aren't almost 400 pounds, and if you are, right, get it done, take it off, and then wear it for a while. Throw it back on, see what the day is like that overall, right? What that's going to let you know is just how much you were suffering before. We talked about eating clean, and when I had the gas from that restaurant meal, even though it was clean, having that gas and that discomfort, what that reminds me or should highlight is that when I was eating poorly at 396 pounds, I was feeling that all the time. I just got used to it. It's the boiling frog syndrome. If you haven't heard about the boiling frog syndrome, I think a couple of episodes ago I talked about the crabs in the bucket syndrome. So the boiling frog syndrome story is really interesting. If you take a pot of water and you bring it to boil and you throw a frog in it, it's immediately going to leap out, right? Because it's danger, it's hot, it's painful, it's a shock. If you take that pot of water and you put that frog in it and you slowly increase the heat, very, very slowly, but over time it'll get to boiling and that frog will die. But that frog will have gotten used to a little bit more heat, a little bit more heat, a little bit more stress, till it finally can't handle it. But it got so used to it, it didn't realize just how dangerous it had become, just how hot it had become, just how much of a shock to the system become, because it was done so gradually that in its mind, it was like, that's Tuesday, man. It's the same for us, guys, especially with stress, mental stress and physical stress. It comes on gradual, and we get so used to it that we don't realize how bad it was until it's totally removed. So we've been in relationships that have been terrible. We got so used to it, but when we finally, it was over, it was like a breath of fresh air. We've been in jobs, right? Or been in stages of our business where it's been so hard that once that's solved and better, you can take a deep breath and you're like, oh my God, what a difference. You lose weight, you feel better. Then you look back and you realize just how stressful it was every day under those conditions. But you got used to it slowly. It crept up on you slowly. The boiling frog syndrome, it crept up on you slowly till it became unbearable. You hit bottom, you cracked, or something happened health-wise. We hear it all the time, right? We see it all the time in the gym business. People come in and have to get in shape because something significant happened to them. They always knew they should get healthier. They always knew they needed to lose weight, but it took a heart incident. It took a murmur. It took a stress incident. It took an anxiety attack, right? It took all of a sudden they saw themselves in the mirror for the first time in a long time, and the shock of that. It took something dramatic to shake them to their senses. So that's why for us, once we start making those changes, we need to remember that as well. We need to remember there was a point in our days, in our lives, where things were much worse. So we need to work on progress. And then, and again, it's all coming back to that second journal, right? And something Janet had said where she, at the end of the week, she likes to look back, and the end of the month, she likes to look back and summarize what she accomplished and how far she's come. Sometimes that's the only time we really get to really appreciate just how much work we put in. So a very powerful tool. So do it systematically. Do it in a way that you're forced to come back to it, right? Whenever I train anybody now, and it's been like this for years, if you're into any of my groups, if I'm working with you one-on-one, if I'm working with you in a group or whatever, I insist everybody has a journal. I insist. And there's a few reasons why I do it. Number one is because the journal works. You can use all these apps on your phones, and I don't mind if you use the apps on your phones to whatever, but I want you to transcribe the information on your journal. Because the problem is when it's just in your on your phone, it's hidden behind all the other apps. It's hidden behind your Candy Crush, your Tinder account, your Facebook. All those things are there, so it gets lost. When we physically have a journal, so this is my webinar and live stream journal. This is the journal I write all my episodes that I do about in my podcast. I have separate books to keep that information separate but readily. But I can also use it as a reference and a resource. But the one thing that I think is super powerful is that whenever I look at this, I think of my podcast, right? 187, 190 episodes, right? That's what this represents for me. So when I see it visually, it reminds me of how much work I've done. When I see this, it shows me how much work I've done on my webinars, right, with my groups and with the live stream with you guys. I have my workout journal, bigger green book. When I look at that and look back in the pages, it shows me the work I'm doing, what I'm achieving, the success I'm doing every day. It's a reminder. It's a resource. It's so valuable. It's so powerful that we need those reminders. We need those anchors to show us this is what it's all about. I was talking to one of my clients who's struggling a bit mentally with his goals and stuff. And I said, you know what you need to do, my friend? I said, take a picture of yourself in the underwear and put it right there in your mirror in your kitchen. Put it right there in the mirror in your truck. If you have a locker at work, put it there. Constantly remind yourself of where you're at and how you don't want to be there anymore. Because we'll hide. We'll hide behind clothes. We'll wear bigger clothes. We'll get rid of the mirrors. I know some people who don't have mirrors in their house, only have one because they can't stand looking at themselves and they don't want to be reminded. But what you've done really is found another way to hide from yourself. So when you hide from yourself, right, you let yourself go longer. It's that simple. That's what the journals represent, right? That's why I do that weekly shot so I can see the progress because I look forward to it. And I want every week to be better because I have a big goal. I have 100 more pounds to lose. I have to get to 240 pounds by November 2nd to compete on a bodybuilding stage. So I need to see that shot every week, and I need to see improvement there every week. I need to look forward to it, but I need to fight for it. I need to earn that shot. What I don't want to get caught into is already people now are starting to say, Curd, oh my God, you've lost 40, 50 pounds. I can see a difference. What's going on? That's really good. But there's a part of you that'll sit there and say, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. So you know what? I'll have a few nachos. I'm doing pretty good. You know what? I don't feel like doing the bike today. I'll skip the bike. Because then we start to think about we're doing better. We can afford. We have some leeway. And you know what? We don't. If we're not at our goal, there is no room to sidetrack. There's no room to step back. Right? We need to keep pushing forward. Especially now. Once we have the momentum going, that's when we need to double down, 10x it. When things are working well, put even more effort. Put the next layer of success on top of that. So maybe it's something where, you take I do that shot every week, but find something that works for you, right? What's the next thing you can add to this? That's just the next level that you're just adding to what you're already doing. You got some momentum. You're feeling really good. Your self-esteem is up. Things are happening. What's the next thing we can add to that? That's kind of a logical step, but that'll keep you moving further, keep the fire burning brighter. I forgot that I had bought this meal pack thing that it's a bag that carries all my meals. I forgot I had bought that, right? And I actually saw it just 2 days ago. And I'm like, perfect. I took it from where it was on the shelf above, in a cupboard above the washer dryer. I remember leaving it in the garage. I don't even know how it got there. I brought it out. I put it on my front counter. And I said, Monday, I start using that. Because I'm carrying around a cloth bag with handles with 2 or 3 meals in it and that kind of stuff, right? So I'm already doing it, but why not take it to the next level, right? So, hey, it's a better container. It's going to work better, but it looks better, and it takes it to the next level. You know what that shows? It shows that I'm even more serious. So going back to the journal, when I work with a group of people or when I work with individuals, I insist on the journal because the journal shows me that they're ready to be serious. If they start showing up without their journal, it's telling me they're not really serious, right? It's an afterthought. They forget about it. And if it's an afterthought, they forget about the journal, well, then what we're working on is not front of mind. It's not important. So then it tells me a lot about where their mindset is and where they're caught up at the moment. So I can have that frank conversation with them. Hey, where's your journal? Oh, can't help you without the journal. I'll get a piece of paper. I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Make a fucking paper airplane out of it. I don't care. But it's not going to help you. And I'm telling you right now, because that's what you're doing, you're not going to succeed. It's a huge indicator for me. So show up with your journal. Show me that you're prepared. Show me that you're ready to do it. Show me that you're willing to buy into it to the next level enough that you're going to carry this journal with you. And I say this all the time at the beginning when I do a 6-week transformation or when I work with people. The people that get the success, the most success, the best success, the most consistent success are the ones that come up and have their journal and use that journal. The journal is the anchor that puts it all together. There's science out there that says when you write something down, it's committed to memory at a different level. The brain processes it at a different level. It's committed to a higher level. There's science behind it, right? I'm not making it up. There's something about writing it. There's a thing called through the lips, through the fingertips. Write things down. Circle, draw a diagram. How am I feeling? Right? Super powerful. But that journal becomes an anchor, a vision. When you see it, it represents something. So that when you're there, it's front of mind. It's another reminder of the journey that you're on. I have another person that was struggling for a while, and I told him, I said, listen, he comes in, we have a thing where I train a certain group of guys 3 times a week. I said, that's great. I said, you want to be more successful? He goes, yeah. I said, on days off in between, come in and ride the bike for 25 minutes. Be around it 6 days a week. Be around it 7 days a week, right? Be around it more often so it's front of mind, so it affects how you think and how you process, and it has an influence on the actions that you take. When I walk into the gym and I see the guys working out and I see the guy who's got his journal and his phone, he's taking pictures, but he's got his journal, I know that motherfucker is serious. And what that tells me is that person's also ready to learn. So if they ask me a question, I'm 10 times more in because I know they're putting themselves in the position to get the most from that energy, from that information. Well, I want to help that person because I know they're going to do something with it, and they're doing something that's not falling on deaf ears. There's one thing about explaining something and they don't understand. That's all right. We'll teach them. But when it's falling on deaf ears, the moment I start hearing the yeah buts, I'm like, you know what? You're just not ready. And I just tell people that you're just not ready, right? You're just not ready. You haven't committed enough. That kind of, you're just looking for the next shiny object. You're buying into, oh, this will be the one thing that fixes it. You know what? You're the fucking one thing that's going to fix it in here, what you do. Right? So when I see you're serious, I tell people all the time, if I see you're serious, I'll step it up with you. Right? I have a couple of people I reach out to every day because I know they're working out really hard and they're trying really hard. So I reach out to them every day. How you doing? What's going on? Let me know if you need any help. And I'm proud of you. Right? Jan, you're on here all the time. I'm proud of you because you've made changes. I met you years ago. You're not the same person. You're getting shit done. And your life has changed because of it. And I can see it's changed. I know you're happier because you've changed from within. My buddy Steph, same thing. We've known each other now for 2 years. That guy backed a truck up one day to deliver carpets, looked in the window and saw a gym, and we had a conversation. He became a member the next day. We've been training partners for over a year now, friends for over a year, right? Because this shit's real for him, and it's real for me. I don't sit there and force people to do anything. If you're not ready, you're not ready. It's okay, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to say, there, it's not your fault. Yes, the scale went up because you gained muscle. It's bullshit, right? I'm not there to bullshit you, because if I bullshit you, then I'm going to bullshit myself. I'm trying to raise that standard, because that's the one thing that's held me back, is that I haven't raised my standards high enough personally. I'm proud of you too, and you're a big part of my success. Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much. Right? But she said something very important. A big part of my success, I listened. You listened and you took action on that information. Right? You're ultimately to blame for your success because you did something. We have more knowledge at our fingertips now than ever before. It is so much. You can type in a search on Google and find 20 programs to improve anything. We have more information available to us now than we've ever had before. But we've had more obesity now than we've ever had before. We have more weak people now than ever we had before. We have more issues of mental illness and mental affliction than ever before. We have more knowledge than before. It isn't the knowledge. That tipping point passed a while ago. It's action, it's mindset, it's commitment, it's accountability. It's owning your shit. Extreme ownership, right? Raise your standards for yourself. I was talking to one of my clients, a guy who's struggling and stuff, and I said, look, dude, I see you beat yourself up, but I said, you're beating yourself up in the wrong way. Calling yourself a loser, calling yourself fat, calling yourself this, that, that's beating yourself up in the wrong way. What I want you to do, I want you to beat yourself up the opposite. I want you to beat yourself up that you hold yourself to a higher standard. I want you to sit there and say, in my case, come on, Hos, get up. It's time to get up. You got shit to do. Look at the clock. Come on, Hos, it's late. Get to bed. You got shit to do. Beat yourself up that way. Take your standards to a much higher level that way. Force yourself. Make yourself uncomfortable that way. That's how you want to beat yourself up. You want to do it in a positive way. You want to do it in a way that's going to make you better. But only you can raise those standards for yourself. You can find a place that you love to train. You can find a coach you love to work with and stuff. And that's awesome. That's fantastic. But then you have to take the standards that that facility has and that coach has, and you have to make them your own standards, right? And when you do that, when you sit there and you refuse to lower your standards, your new standards, when you force yourself to hold yourself to a much higher level, things change. You'll stumble, you'll fall, you'll make mistakes. It won't be easy. You keep fighting for that higher standard for yourself, and things happen. You look back and you've had progress. You look down your journal, there's progress, right? I tell people, listen, show up. Show up 6 days a week in the gym, get the workouts in. First 30 days, that's the most important part. Establish a groove, some success, some fitness, some conditioning, some self-esteem, some strength. Then we go to the next level. Let's start working on food. Let's do a 6-week transformation. Let's do something. Step up to the next level. Then step up to the next level. And then add. You've succeeded, move to the next level. What's bigger? So for me, that bodybuilding is huge. Biggest goal, one of the biggest goals I've ever taken on. But I need that big goal. And you know what? As I have that big goal, other standards for myself are improving as well. Because I'm seeing the success that happens. But because I have to hold myself to a higher level of standard, because I have to be prepared enough to do what has to get done, I have less room for bullshit. I have less tolerance for crap. I don't have room in my day for things that aren't efficient. So now when I'm dealing with anything from business to personal, whatever, if it isn't moving me towards my goals, then I clear it off my plate. I get it done. Either I try to solve it right away or I step away from it and I push it to the side and say, I'm not dealing with this. This isn't part of my mandate. This isn't going to take me to where I need to go. This isn't worth my time. Like I was saying earlier, we only have so much time. We only have so much energy. We get fitter and stronger. We have more energy. But we only have so much of it. We need to bear down on what matters. What's going to propel us to be what we want to be who we want to be, and be at the level we want to be. And then be ready to work 10 times harder than we thought we had to work. Where the hard work's going to come in for me is not the food. I've got that figured out. It's not the meal prep. I've got that figured out. The hard work is to be consistent and do it all the fucking time, no matter what. No matter what day I had. Shitty day, fuck you, I'm going to do it. Great day, fuck you, I'm going to do it. Fight with the wife, fuck you, I'm going to do it. Great day, everything's perfect. I had a phenomenal weekend. Great. Fuck you, get it done anyway. Right? And then when you look back and you see what's working, double down on that. This is working, this is moving well, double down. That's right. Good day, bad day, you have to stay the course. A shitty workout is better than no workout all the time. All the time. Miss one meal, catch up the next meal. Right? Just, double step and get back at it. Keep moving forward. That's right. Keep moving forward. Keep your eyes on the target, but don't hide from it. Don't hide from your weigh-ins. Don't hide from your weekly progress picture. Do it, do it, do it. Face it. Take it on. And when you do it, what's going to happen is you're automatically give yourself less room for error, less margin for error, because you know you have to face it. You got to do it. So push forward on it. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. If there's any questions, I see there's 4 or 5 people watching. Say hi. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you've liked anything I said and I haven't pissed you off too much. It really helps us. It helps us in the YouTube world. We want to make sure that they like our videos more and more and they push it forward so we can get across our message to more people all the time. Subscribe, hit that little bell to be reminded whenever we do have something going on. If you have any questions, if you're struggling with something, if you want to get better, send me an email, curdhos@gmail.com. Let me throw it in the notes here. curdhos@gmail. God, typing, low carbs. Boom, right? Just hit that. Copy and paste, send me a message. Let me know how you're doing. If you're going to tune in every Sunday, I like to see who shows up. Let me know how your week was. Let's motivate each other. Let's inspire each other. Let's move forward together overall, right? Good night, Steph. Have a good night. Absolutely, guys. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, other videos on the channel as well. Like and subscribe and keep the fight going. If you haven't set a big goal for yourself, set one and then just share it with us next week. And let's get that done. All right, guys? I'll talk to you guys later.